There is a robot that mows your lawn all summer, clears your leaves in autumn, then blows your driveway clear of snow all winter, without a single expensive perimeter wire having to be embedded anywhere in your yard. The company behind it is a New York firm called Yarbo. They built a tracked machine the size of a large suitcase that swaps its own front attachments to switch jobs across the seasons and works entirely on its own with no hand on the controls. If it delivers, it replaces a whole shed of loud, gas-burning, genuinely dangerous machines with one quiet, electric robot that works while you are inside. Can this robot really handle all your yard work forever? Let's find out. Keeping a yard in shape has always meant owning several machines that each do one job. A mower for the grass, a blower for the leaves, a snow blower for the winter, all sitting idle most of the year while demanding their own fuel, oil, and servicing. And those machines carry a real cost beyond the purchase price. Gas-powered yard equipment is far dirtier than most people realize, because the small engines inside it skipped the emissions controls that cleaned up cars decades ago. 1 hour with a commercial leaf blower puts out about the same smog-forming pollution as driving a new car 1,100 miles. Across California, this equipment already pollutes more than every passenger car in the state, and that gap is set to widen. There is a safety cost too. Lawn mowers alone send roughly 85,000 people to US emergency rooms every year, and around 70 of those cases are fatal. The injuries are severe, with lacerations, fractures, and amputations making up the bulk of them. And a serious one carries an average inpatient charge of nearly $37,000. Putting a person next to fast-spinning steel blades on a slope turns out to be one of the more dangerous things we do around the home. Replacing that whole fleet with one safer machine is exactly the problem Yarbo set out to solve. The company was founded in 2015 under the name Snowbot, building robots for the one chore almost nobody enjoys, clearing snow. After realizing a winter-only product sat unused for most of the year, the team rebranded as Yarbo and widened its focus to cover the full calendar. It ran a beta program across North American winters, showed the system at CES, and pulled in over $3.45 million through crowdfunding. By 2024, it had taken more than 6,000 paid pre-orders. What they built starts with a single tracked base called the Yarbo core. Rather than wheels, it runs on heavy-duty rubber tracks, which spread its weight, grip loose ground, and let it climb slopes up to 35 degrees. A 70% grade that would defeat most wheeled mowers. That base is the constant. Everything else changes with the season. The clever part is how it switches jobs. The front of the core uses a quick swap coupling that lets you pull off one attachment and lock on another, by hand and without tools. In summer, it carries a mower module with twin cutting discs and a 20-inch cutting width. In autumn, you swap that for a blower to clear leaves and debris off paths and lawns. When winter arrives, a 2-stage snow blower module bolts on, throwing snow well clear of the driveway in whatever direction you set. One machine, stored in the space of a suitcase, doing the work of 3. Powering all of this is a swappable lithium-ion battery, and the mower covers a meaningful stretch of ground on a charge before returning to its dock on its own. When the battery runs low, it charges back up and resumes exactly where it left off, so a large yard gets finished across several trips without you touching it. The whole system is controlled through a phone app where you map your property, divide it into zones, and set schedules for each task. From there, it runs to that plan on its own, which is what lets it work while you are inside or away. The feature that sets Yarbo apart is that it does all of this with no boundary wire at all, and that is harder than it sounds. Most robot mowers rely on a wire buried around the edge of your lawn, a job that means trenching the full perimeter and reburying any section that breaks. Yarbo throws that out and navigates virtually instead, using a system it calls PPVS that fuses several sensors together. The backbone is RTK GPS, a high-precision form of satellite positioning that uses a small base station on your property to lock the robot's location down to a couple of inches. That is accurate enough to follow the edge of a flower bed without a physical wire telling it where the grass stops. The catch with satellite positioning is that it falters under tree canopies and beside tall buildings, exactly the conditions a real yard is full of. So when the GPS signal drops, the robot leans on its other senses to keep going. An inertial sensor tracks its movement, the tracks count their own rotation to estimate distance traveled, and onboard cameras read the surroundings. Together, these carry it through the gap until the satellite lock returns, rather than letting it drift across a boundary or stall. On top of that sits obstacle avoidance, with cameras, ultrasonic sensors, and a front bumper working to spot people, pets, and objects and steer around them. That layered approach is what lets the machine cover wooded, sloping, irregular ground that a simple wire and wheel mower could never handle. Set against the machines it replaces, Yarbo's pitch is to fold 3 tools into one and remove the person from the dangerous part of the job. That capability comes at a steep upfront price. A full kit with the core and multiple modules runs around $6,999, where a decent gas ride on mower starts near $4,500, and a basic wire-guided robot mower can be had for $1,500 to $3,000. Yarbo costs more than any single one of them, and there is no hiding from that number on day one. But the comparison shifts once you account for what those cheaper options leave out. The ride-on still needs you behind it, still burns fuel, and still does only one of the 3 jobs. The wire-guided robot mows and nothing else, leaving the leaves and snow to you. A homeowner, replacing all 3 functions the conventional way, is buying and maintaining several machines, and Yarbo's case rests on consolidating that spend and the upkeep that trails it. There is also the running cost, where the gap runs the other way. An electric drivetrain with few moving parts avoids the gasoline, oil changes, and belt replacements a combustion fleet demands, so over several years it costs far less to keep going. The crudest alternative is simply hiring a service to handle it all, which removes the chore but never stops costing you. At a typical couple of $100s a month, that bill never ends, while the robot is a one-time purchase that keeps working. The pressure pushing this technology forward right now is largely regulatory, and it is aimed squarely at the gas engine. In California, the Air Resources Board now requires most newly manufactured small off-road engines, the kind inside mowers and blowers, to be zero emission from model year 2024 onward. That does not ban the equipment people already own, but it steadily closes the door on selling new gas models. And because federal law lets other states adopt California's rules, that pressure spreads well beyond one state. The health case underneath those rules is stark. Switching California's roughly 15 million small engines to electric alternatives is projected to deliver billions in public health benefits and avoid hundreds of premature deaths over the next 2 decades. When the rules turn against the gas engine this firmly, a fully electric machine stops being a novelty and starts being the obvious replacement. Labor is the other pressure. Yard maintenance leans on a workforce that is expensive and stretched thin, and a machine that works unattended through every season is one answer to a shortage that is not easing on its own. For all its promise, Yarbo has real ground to cover before a machine like this turns up in ordinary yards. The clearest obstacle is the price, where that near $7,000 sticker puts it out of reach for most buyers, no matter how well the long-term math works. Bringing that down, or softening it through financing and leasing models, is what would move this from an enthusiast's purchase to a mainstream one, and the company has begun trialing exactly those options with dealer partners. Cold weather brings a subtler problem. The lithium-ion battery has to be actively heated to survive deep cold, and that heating draws power even while the machine sits idle. Owners in freezing climates have reported the battery quietly losing charge overnight when it is parked away from its dock. Moving to battery chemistries that tolerate cold better, wrapped in proper insulation, is what would close that gap. Then there is support. An established mower brand has a dense network of local dealers who can sharpen a blade or fix a fault the same week, and a young robotics company simply does not yet. Building out that service network so a breakdown does not mean shipping the machine across the country is part of what Yarbo still has to prove. And the history here counsels caution, because a major player has tried this before and failed. iRobot, the company behind the Roomba, spent years developing a wireless robot mower called Terra, only to run into the same core difficulty Yarbo faces, that standard GPS is unreliable under tree branches. iRobot suspended the project in 2020. Yarbo's answer is the layered sensor fusion that takes over when the satellite signal drops. But the precedent is a reminder that wire-free navigation is the hard part, and that getting it right in a lab is not the same as getting it right in every yard. Even with those caveats, the direction of travel is clear and the company is moving quickly. In April 2025, Yarbo closed a $27 million Series B funding round. money aimed at scaling up manufacturing and widening its reach across North America, Europe, Japan, and Australia. That followed those 6,000 plus pre-orders, giving it a real base of paying customers rather than just interest. Its roadmap points toward turning the core into a genuine platform rather than a three-job machine. At CES, the company showed a follow me mode that lets the robot track and trail you hands-free for hauling, a towing capacity rated to 3,500 pounds, and a redesigned coupling that swaps modules in under 5 minutes. New attachments for trimming, spraying, and other chores are in development, all built around the same base. If you are watching this and weighing one up, the honest answer is that the hardware is here and shipping today. The wait now is less for availability than for the price to ease and the support network to thicken as the company grows into its funding. Yarbo represents a shift in what we expect outdoor maintenance to be, moving it away from a shed of loud, hazardous, single-season machines and toward one quiet electric platform that handles the whole year on its own. The upfront cost is still high, the cold weather engineering still needs work, and the support network still has to be built out. But the falling running costs, the regulations turning against the gas engine, and the institutional money now lining up behind it all point in the same direction. Whether a near $7,000 robot is worth it today depends entirely on your needs. Subscribe and stick around, because we will keep breaking down whether these new home technologies are worth your money.